Good morning. Welcome into 104.5 The Zone. It's a beautiful day in Middle Tennessee. We're happy to have you for the next 3 hours. We got Dianna Russini in 18 minutes from now. We will also have Nate Washington. Both have thoughts, both have information. Looking forward to speaking to both of them throughout the course of the show. Looking forward to having you a part of the show. 615-737-1045 is the number, of course. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is how you engage in the FNM Bank chat should you like to stream the show today, where I am greeted by several people on YouTube. Lovely to see you. Like the video while you're there, if you'd be so kind. But one YouTube commenter known or using the name Tighten Up, Anchor Down says, big game on West End Saturday, too. We have not done Vanderbilt enough service here. I know they're coming off a bye, so there's not been a result to talk about for Vandy necessarily, but it's a huge game. Huge game on West End. Vandy at home, favored against LSU, who is coming off a win of their own, and Vanderbilt looking like the better team.
Favored. 2.5-point favorites at First Bank Stadium. It's crazy to think that we're sitting here in Week 8 and Vandy could clinch bowl eligibility, but their goals are much higher than just the Birmingham bowl again. But it's a huge weekend, generally. Big college football weekend.
So we will dive into college football here in just a second throughout the course of the show. In fact, I screwed up the time, so Dianna Russini will join us now. It's my fault for trying to translate into Eastern time versus Central time. But looking forward to getting some information from her here in just a second. I don't think she's been on the show this football season. So big week, hyper-toxic week here in Nashville, Tennessee. Mike Vrabel being asked about facing the Titans. Titans players being asked about their coach being fired and also facing their former coach, those of them who are still remaining on the roster. But I do think that there is going to be plenty of good college football conversation, and Josh Pate will also be on the show tomorrow, yes?
Tomorrow at 10:20, Josh will be in studio, as he is headed to that game, actually. That's his game of the week.
You mean headed to that game? You're going to walk down the street?
Pretty much.
It must be nice for him, although he's flying private these days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a big deal now.
Flying private. Dianna Russini of The Athletic joins us now, which makes me very happy. It's a toxic week here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be the all-toxic game on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. I'm a little disappointed that you're not making the trip in.
I know. First of all, hi, guys.
Hello.
Missed you. You guys have done tremendous work this past week. I've listened to a lot of the shows. I've watched a lot of the clips. I know a lot of people in football have watched a lot of those clips.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's good.
It's not good for
great.
Lucas.
but I have to tell, I got to tell you, just like listening a little bit before I came on, I can tell you guys are a little tired. Yeah, a little tired. It's been a week.
It has been a week, but you know this is it's not just this week, Dianna. It's 4 years of this crap at this point. You know, it wears on, like the losing wears on the locker room. It is also wearing us down.
The Monday night late press conference, I'm sure, was such a thrill for you guys to stay up late, to having to do that. And obviously, I'm on East Coast time here, and so at the time I was watching it as well, like. It's really late. I'm old now. I can't be staying up this late. But it's been a lot, and there's definitely been tons of reaction around the league about this move, because I don't think I can just tell you, just talking to people, decision makers, coaches, people, no one thought that Brian Callahan would get fired this week. No one's surprised Brian Callahan got fired. They're just surprised he got fired now, because the thought had always been, let's get through this season here. Let's not give Cam Ward so much change, in just his first year here. But obviously the decision came down, and now the search begins for who would be the next and right coach for the Tennessee Titans.
Which is ridiculous, because it's week 7 and we still have 11 more games of this nonsense to go. So let's start from there, though, Dianna. The way that this situation is viewed from people that you talk to around the league, because I mean, she does this, right? She swoops down out of the sky and she drops the axe The organization didn't necessarily seem ready or prepared necessarily for the decision to come down on Monday afternoon when it did. I think we had like 5 minutes left in the show when it happened. Adam Schefter's on McAfee 15 minutes before saying he doesn't expect any coaches to be fired today. Like, how rare is that where the information or the behavior is so erratic that even the people that traffic in the information are caught off guard?
Yeah, I know that doesn't happen to Adam a lot. To his credit, though, he did a good job. He still kind of shelved it, though, because he's like, at this point, because he knows, right? He's been doing this so long. We all have been doing it long enough to know that it doesn't matter what the general manager, the assistant general manager, the head of football ops, the assistant coach, the trainer, whoever everyone's talking to, it doesn't matter what they think at the end of the day. The owners own the team. And this ownership group has been very volatile over the last few years and reacts to feelings and performances. And when they're not happy, they just make the move. And we've seen just so much turnover. And I think the part of this that's so hard for fans to understand, and maybe they do, is there are so many coaches in football who would love to work for the Tennessee Titans. But unfortunately, the way that they're seeing this, and they're seeing a type of owner that they'd have to work for, there's reluctance. Now, look, do I think that once this coaching search really goes in full gear, do I think that they're going to get turned down by guys that are trying to get either back to the coaching role or maybe their first time? No. But maybe, right? Like, if you're Arthur Smith and you're a big name and you've had experience in Tennessee, you would probably want to coach there, but you know too much. Matt Nagy is somebody that's a name that's going to be buzzing for the next 3 months, 4 months, just because of his relation with Mike Borgonzi. Nagy doesn't want to go through what he went through in Chicago. He literally changed as a human being in that experience. And we've all heard these stories where coaches go through these opportunities, these jobs, and it affects them in such a strong way. And Chicago affected Matt Nagy. And he and I've had multiple conversations over the years since then about his growth and reflection. And he wants the right situation here. He's not going to want to jump into something worried that an owner's just going to react really quickly. So just this weekend too, Buck, I never looked at this as like Brian Callahan versus Mike Vrabel either. I know that was the storyline headed into the week before Brian got fired. I don't even really think it's the Titans versus Mike Vrabel either. I just think that's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's there. It's petty. I look at it as the Tennessee Titans should actually look across the field at the team that was dysfunctional the last few years, have the quarterback like the Titans do, and went and found the right leader, went and found the right coach. It just happens to be the guy that it didn't work out with you. But that doesn't mean Vrabel doesn't represent some of the good that you should be looking for in this next hire. And they sort of have the 1-2 punch there in New England because you got Mike being the leader of the men, establishing the identity of the Tennessee Titans, but you've also got Josh McDaniel. So you've got that OC brain, that guy that's developing the young quarterback that you're going to want for Cam Ward. So I think for Tennessee, it's almost like I dare them not to make this weekend about the frustrations and anger and disappointment and pettiness, and make it more about like maybe we could learn from them. Maybe this is something we need to think about instead of making the hot OC, hire first-time head coach because we've got Cam Ward. So I'm interested to see how they're going to react to all this.
Yes, famously, the toxic one in the relationship is the one that's going to be prone to growth and development in this situation rather than going out and finding the hot young thing to replace their ex with. Dianna Russini, senior NFL insider for The Athletic, host of the Scoop City podcast, of course, where you can hear her and James Palmer and Chase Daniel. I really like the addition of James with the two of you. I think you guys have done a really good job with that as well. Here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
So that whole concept about attractiveness of a job, Dianna, is a discussion that's going to be had around here for a while. And we had that discussion when the Titans were replacing Rand Carthon. And conventional wisdom told us that Don't know if it's a situation that the best candidates would want to work under a president of football ops that actually has final say over the roster and the amount of turnover. Yet still, Mike Borgonzi took this job. So in your experience, and you've already talked a little bit about it, what do coaches really prioritize when it comes to gauging the attractive nature of a head coaching position, when it comes to personnel and balancing the stuff at the top that I figure, Dianna, coaches that are confident in their abilities believe they can come in and win enough to stave off some of the stuff that comes down from the top, because that stuff typically comes down because the wins aren't coming fast enough.
Yeah, I don't think it takes an insider's knowledge to share. I think it's common sense. It's always quarterback. The smart coaches know it's so hard to win if you don't have it. We've seen this story over and over. But if you've got the guy that is such a big part of the sale of that team, that is going to lure in a coach, because you got a shot at least. You have an opportunity. You just look at this last coaching cycle, right? Like Ben Johnson had tons of opportunity. He had the Raiders. He had the Jags. He turned down the Jets, the Bears, obviously. And the quarterback position was important. The same thing with Vrabel. He was another one who had tons of opportunity. And even that year before, if you remember, he met with the Chargers after Tennessee fired him. And I mean, the idea of working with Justin Herbert, how do you not, it almost like doesn't matter what else is going on. I think that's actually what hurt the Jets in regards to Vrabel for them being able to land him. As much as he was aware about that ownership group, I remember talking to the Jets, and like that was like the most unbelievable interview that I had heard, like a post, like, oh my God, we love him. He whatever he wants. Like that was kind of like the energy. And I know he liked him. I saw him this summer at training camp. We were talking about it. Like I don't know what that says about coach, but the quarterback thing, back to the important part about this, it's quarterback, right? So Tennessee's got the quarterback, so that's great. I would say stuff on the bottom, that's not as important, but I know when people talk about Nashville, they've said this to me multiple times, even players have when we've talked during free agency. People want to live there because obviously of all the reasons why you two live there. And it's growing and it's cool, it's trendy, it's got a little bit of a lot of culture and music, all the fun stuff that comes with Nashville. But it's just not going to be easy to sell the Titans if there isn't a little bit of an about face, or at least a facelift here, where Borgonzi and Brinker can communicate, like, look, we've got control here. We can make sure that you feel good and you're getting what you want without this owner stepping in. It's an owner that's not even around. And I think that's the wildest part about all this, right? Like, I'm right here in New York. You guys know this, and we're in New Jersey, right? John Mara is there every day. He's in the building. He's there. Does that mean he's prying into everything? No, but he has an understanding of what's happening on the day-to-day. If you're not there, you don't know. And I think that's what's made this really hard for some of these coaches that have been fired. It's how do you get it if you're not really involved? So I still think people are going to want, I can tell you, after Brian got fired, I had assistant coaches texting like, oh man, that'd be the dream job. So maybe some are willing to take that risk.
Dianna Russini with us on 104.5 The Zone. Who, just for you, and this isn't you reporting anything, we understand that. Who's the first name that popped into your head when you saw that Brian Callahan was let go?
Like who would be the next coach?
Right.
Or just like, what did I think of when Brian got fired?
No, on potential replacement for Brian Callahan.
We could do both after that.
I thought Matt Nagy.
Yeah, we could do both. Matt Nagy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought of Buck. No, I thought of Kaharski, just like typing away.
How about that, Blake, Dianna? He's sitting there. Where's Amy? Where is she? Why isn't she here in the middle of the press conference?
I miss
Batman
you guys
voice.
so much. I can't explain to you how different you guys are than any other media corps.
So stupid.
You're so stupid, but you're so fun, and you guys are also relentless. Like I've said that to people in New York, even in Philly, where first of all, Philly's scary. Like, I'm scared in Philly when I go there. And I have no reason. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my God. But you guys are good. You guys don't quit. But look, I actually think it's easy to be tough in the media when the team isn't good. So let's see what happens when they get good, if they do.
Lucas accuses me of that very often. Because
you should see him. You should see the switch up, Dianna, when he walks into the facility after saying they peed down their leg. And, Jeff, hello, Jeff. Oh, you were so good on Sunday, Jeff.
That one tried to crush my skull. I'm a little scared of that one.
I know. You got to show up, though. That's rule number one in reporting. If you're gonna put out information or say something bad about people, you got to show up the next day. And I've had to do it, unfortunately, many of times, and it's not fun. But you do it because it's what we do. And I know, Buck, because I've been friends with you and I've listened to you long enough. You are not the type covering a team wanting to see all the drama. You actually, I remember being around you when they went to the AFC Championship game. You guys were a treat. Everyone was so happy. Business was booming, especially because it was so unexpected. Those were the good old days. I still remember those as the good old days, just that it was such a fun year. And it could be magical if they're able to find the right people to turn this thing around, because I do think there's so much good. But Matt Nagy is the name I immediately thought of in terms of replacement, only because I know Bergonzi and him are so close. And it makes sense. People like to go with comfort, what they know. They don't want to speak different languages. They don't want to come from different schools. It's not that it's not a very sophisticated process usually. But look, Matt Nagy, Lou Anarumo, Anthony Weaver, Arthur Smith, Joe Brady. These are the names, Robert Saleh. These are the names that I think you're going to hear a lot of over the next few months here in terms of who Tennessee's going to at least sit down with and try to figure out who's going to clean this all up.
Subscribe to the Scoop City podcast wherever you get your podcast. Robert, if we could do, Dianna, the courtesy of dropping the link to the YouTube channel as well in our YouTube live stream for people who have not already subscribed to Scoop City so they can watch along as well. To the other side of this coin, on the other sideline at this point, it's going to be weird to see Mike Vrabel and literally all of the other Titans coaches, former Titans players on the opposing sideline this coming weekend, at least for a lot of people around here. You did a training camp tour. You went to a lot of different places. New England was one of them. The conversation around them in the summer, or at least before the season started, was, it's going to take a minute. They're spending a ton in free agency because they don't have players, and rarely do those things translate to immediate success. But, Dianna, they have the quarterback that seems to be the difference maker here because, again, we've talked about this on the show this week. We talked about it with Cosell this morning on our podcast that we do with Greg, the idea that the conversation is about Vrabel, but the game is really about Drake May.
Yeah. All right. A couple things to unpack there. First of all, just going back to the summer and being around those guys and talking to them about what they were building. They tend to be, that whole coaching staff tends to be a little doom and gloom, as you recall. So while I think they had belief that Drake was going to be a good player, I walked away from being around them like, this is going to be a while before they can buy.
But come on, you guys didn't have a conversation.
Because I saw so much of the same stuff that they were doing in Tennessee in terms of what they were trying to build. And that was identity, right? Because that's something we criticized the Titans since Vrabel left, was what the heck are they? New England, I figured it would take at least a season. They know what they are already. We're less than 50 days into the season. And these guys are so bought into what Vrabel is doing. And I think he's changed as well. Obviously, you learn from experiences. You learn from failure. I was texting with a player on the Patriots on Monday, and he's like, this is huge. I'm like, what's huge? What are you talking about? He's like, this game. I'm like, for who? Like, really? Like the Titans? He's like, no, if it's big for coach, it's big for us. And it's like, man, like these guys are in. Like, they understand it, and the Harold Landry, element to it. Granted, Spillane left in a great fashion because he went and got paid. But I just think that, look, it is hard to win 3 games on the road, right? This would be their third. I think what's going to help them is that these players are going to go out there and give everything they got, just knowing that Vrabel spent this entire week telling them none of this matters, that it's interesting, but it's not important, that no one's buying into this team. He's got the whole thing going there. So I think that's going to give them the edge. by the way, I don't actually think the New England Patriots are that great.
Right.
They've got a lot of issues still. Their run game is terrible. They definitely have no depth on defense. I just think the fact that they've been able to find it fast is what's been the most impressive part of this.
So it would be a fascinating thing to see Mike McCoy do something that Brian Callahan was incapable of doing, especially on a short turnaround this week. They're talking about incorporating. Mike Borgonzi referenced it at the press conference that they had talked to Mike McCoy before making him the interim officially about implementing some changes here with the offense. So I would expect it to be a competitive game. It's just this offense has been horrendous here in Tennessee, and that's ultimately what got Brian Callahan fired. Now, he's the only one to get got in this season so far. Where else are things tenuous? Because there are other bad teams. There are other embattled coaches. The Titans are fortunate that the New York Jets exist.
Yeah, they are fortunate. But the New York Jets are on a different path from the way they believe in Aaron Glenn, and they're hoping that this gets better. Even talking to some teams that played them this year, because I've been trying to figure out, what's wrong with them? Like, what is it? What are you seeing when you're facing them? And it's funny. A lot of teams have said they're actually not as bad as it seems. There are obviously a lot of self-inflicted wounds there. It's Justin Fields, right? He's the problem. So I don't think Aaron Glenn is going to get fired. Because I don't think the Jets want to go over another change. I mean, they wouldn't even move on from Robert Saleh after, the season before they fired him, when they probably should have, right? Like, I think we could all make that argument at the time and all the reporting we were doing that it just wasn't working. And then they did it, just like Tennessee, right? Just a few games in. Miami's obvious. I mean, look at Miami. I mean, what is that? You don't even need to talk to people. They're going to the podium and basically admitting that people are not going to meetings.
What's Tua doing there, by the way?
I think there's lack of awareness. I think there's lack of belief. I think there's lack of leadership. I think there's cultural problems. I think it's a mess. And it's unfortunate because there's talent there. There's good people there. There's good coaches there. And they were good at some point. There was something cooking there, and it turned sour. And they're just kind of airing it out too much. And so obviously all eyes are going to be on what they decide to do there. I'm curious if they're also going to move on from Chris Greer, the general manager. That's something I think a lot of people around the league are keeping an eye on. But it's so early still, Buck, but there's always like that surprise one, and I'm wondering who that would be this year without knowing how these playoffs are going to shake and the rest of the season. But what about the Bills? What if something goes down there? What about the Ravens? They'll say, up and down, they're never going to move on from John. You never know. We've seen it happen. Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Sometimes you just wear out your welcome. Sometimes everybody just needs a change and everyone's better off. And now, Philly's not better off right now. Philly is going through it right now.
Which is nonsense. Shame on them.
They're fine. They're fine.
They're going to be okay.
They're so annoying. They are the couple that fight just to make up. The drama is exhausting. I've been around them a lot this year. I talked to a lot of those people there. I love the talent they have. I love what they're about. They are tough. They're petty. They're all of it. They make it entertaining. But when Lane Johnson's saying the things he's saying, and he's like the guy there, I start freaking out a little. Like, man, this may not be fixable. So we'll see. And I mean, obviously, you guys follow AJ Brown still, I'm sure, just to see how his life's been going, and it went well.
Just morbid curiosity at this point on our end.
Yeah, I know.
And Calvin Ridley has more yards.
I love seeing AJ, by the way. It's just like, I think it's probably because we go back to, do you know what's funny? I was mentioning this to him the other day. So when I was pregnant with Mikey, my first, I was really, you guys remember because you were around me, like I wasn't like showing it off. I don't know if you show off a pregnancy, but I was so weird about like putting it out there. But AJ saw my belly and was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't eat Chipotle. I'm with child. And he was more excited than anyone in my life that I was pregnant, and he didn't even really know me. And I remember at that moment thinking, like, oh wait, maybe I should just get over this whole fear of being a woman on the sideline with a big belly. Like, nobody cares. And so I always appreciated that with him, and which is probably why I root for him, and I always hope for nothing but health and success for him. But yeah, he's not happy. But as somebody said to me in football a few weeks ago, which I know you guys saw because I saw you tweet it. It could be worse, AJ. You could be with the Titans.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's.
I wish I could tell you who told me that, but I can't.
It's okay. It's the story of our lives. Everybody's saying it, Dianna. Somebody just said it to you to publish. Dianna Russini of The Athletic, the Scoop City podcast. Hell, you can see her on television, too. Fox, she was doing it's First Things First, the name of the show you were on yesterday?
Yeah.
First
I was
Things
on
First,
FS1 doing a little First Things First, little Colin Cowherd. I'm kind of doing a lot, but I like it. It's been good. But the thing that I'm most proud of, that I love the most, and I know you read it, so thank you, on my What I'm Hearing Saturday morning, if you subscribe to The Athletic, it is basically everything I'm hearing and reporting pretty much 24 hours before the game. So it's like a really good precursor to all the action.
You can sign up for that in your on The Athletic, and it will be in your inbox every Saturday morning. It is must read as you get ready for the NFL weekend. Thank you as always for the time, Diane. I know you're busy. It's good to see you.
I am wishing I would be there on Sunday. Imagine if Vrabel came out with a cowboy hat, like just did the whole thing again.
Does he get booed or cheered by Titans fans?
That's a good question.
Oh, cheered. Absolutely cheered. I would be shocked if there are boos. Why would they boo him? He didn't leave because he wanted to. He got fired.
It wasn't great at the end.
I also think that, yeah, well, it wasn't good. But I also think the way this week went it's more of a direct shot at the Titans that they're going to clap him, not because they love him so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of.
Relatable.
What do you go? Yeah, I will be following along your tweets so you can, I'm sure you guys are going to be all over it in terms of what you're going to be observing. It's going to rain, I heard. Is that true?
It looked 62 degrees last I saw. I haven't seen the forecast exactly, but if it gets sloppy, that just adds to the intrigue of all of it. Certainly, it's going to be an interesting game.
This could you guys covered Vrabel's Titans long enough to know these are the kind of games they lose. So we'll see.
That's about the only thing that Titans fans are banking on at this point. I appreciate you taking some time, Dianna. Thank you for stopping by.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Love you, Dianna.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Robert's only appearance is to swoop down like Amy Adams Strunk out of the sky and say, I love you.
That's a win, baby.
Shameful. All right, we got to go to break. We kept her too long. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Trajan Wealth has so many different ways that they can help you achieve financial independence because unlike the changing leaves of fall, our money does not grow on trees. Give Trajan Wealth a call today to ensure you're making the right financial moves for your future. We understand that there's so many different ways that you can let your finances get away from you and so many different ways that you can further your financial independence that you may not necessarily be taking advantage of right now. For example, it's one thing to save for retirement, but it's another to feel ready for it. Trajan Wealth helps people build a plan, a real plan with less guesswork and more peace of mind. They explain everything, they give you options, and they never once try to sell you something that you don't need. Trajan Wealth can do this for you just like they've done it for so many other clients. 2 locations here in Middle Tennessee, Brentwood and Franklin. The number is easy, 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. All right, so I screwed up. I thought Dianna was at 11:05 today. I was not paying attention to Eastern Time versus Central Time, so I appreciate everybody adapting, including Dianna, on that. But it was well worth it. We got a lot of good information there. Matt Nagy, the first name to come to mind as far as potential future Titans coaches go. Now, it's not a Mike, but it's a Matt. Can we go with an M?
Yeah. I don't know.
You think it's working against him?
I think it needs to be a Mike.
What's his middle name? You think he's Matt Mike?
Matthew Michael Nagy?
Uh-oh.
Matt Mike would be awesome.
What if she says, okay, we'll hire you, but you have to go by your middle name?
Mike Nagy?
Wikipedia doesn't say. Maybe he doesn't have a middle name.
Oh, that's lame.
There are
Whoever
dozens
doesn't have
of
a
us, Lucas
In which
says.
case, I'm aligned with Matt Nagy.
Do you not have a middle name either, Buck?
No, I have like 9. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to get involved. If you are so inclined, we can go to the phones. We will hear from Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons here in just a little bit, both on the coaching change, because it's obviously the first time we have gotten to talk to the locker room yesterday since the coaching change was made, and also the upcoming opportunity to see their former coach in the case of some of these players in the locker room, but also to beat a team or try and beat a team that's, like Dianna said, they have won 2 games on the road. To win 3 games on the road, she already says they haven't won. Didn't you already say something to that effect yesterday, that they haven't won as a franchise 3 consecutive road games in like 50 years?
Yeah, which is crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, it's not totally crazy.
That's crazy. It's the greatest dynasty we've ever seen in the NFL.
But how often are you playing? I mean, so who are the 3 road games? Buffalo is the first, New Orleans the second, this would be the third.
So he's saying the Patriots haven't won 3 consecutive road games. Are you sure he didn't say in 15 years?
He might have said 15.
Like
Even still, that's still kind of crazy.
They went undefeated all the way to the Super Bowl in like less than 20 years ago. So, yeah,
enough.
definitely not 50.
All right, definitely 15. It's Mike Giardi's fault.
I think they played more than 3 road games.
I think he said 50. It's that thick Boston accent I can't get through. Hayes is in Kentucky.
What's up, guys?
Nope.
Hey, I know Sadville Radio is in full effect right now, but I still got a little optimism, man. We got a lot of games left this year to watch Cam develop and some of these rookies, so I'm excited to watch that. But just want to get y'all's thoughts on Chad, you know, and just, I know we're not the manager here, GM, but let's assume we are. At what point do we assume that the common denominator in these past GMs and head coaches is one person, and that's Chad? Like, at what point is his role going to have some accountability to it? If he's the one acting for Amy, you know, when does that accountability set in?
Well, it just did at the press conference, right? We grilled him. I mean, that's the first time that he's been the last man standing.
I love it, man. I keep it going for me, Buck, man, because I think Mike's the guy, but I'm just a little questionable on Chad.
Appreciate the call. So on the Brinker thing, listen, I have no doubt that Chad Brinker understands, like what he said when he referenced the success that the front office collectively has had. I have no doubt that Chad Brinker understands what winning football is, that he understands what has success versus what has led them astray specifically here. But I do think that he has too much power in this particular situation. I think it's weird that the team has 2 presidents, one business, one football. And I think it's even more unsettling that the owner can just, I mean, as is her right, it's her team, but she can swoop in at any point and undermine them, even if the best laid plans are set out that way. I know that the way that things went with Rand Carthon and the people that were let go under Rand Carthon were not favorable in the way that Chad Brinker is viewed and how that situation came to be. Whether or not it's in the best interest of the franchise is the question that we still don't have the answer to. Because he can have, I don't want to say undermined, but he can have maneuvered his way into his position and it be a good thing long term, but we have no evidence that there's
no proof of concept, right? Yeah.
So like I understand why it would feel bad to the people who got let go. I understand why fans would look at it side-eyed and say, all right, what's this dude doing in there? And you know, people call names and all these different things, whatever. If it is something that's in the best interest of the franchise, are people going to care? Well, currently, we have no, as Lucas says, proof of concept because they continue to lose.
I mean, it's hard not to look at Chad Brinker as the next in line when it comes to the responsibility pecking order.
No, it's not a responsibility
why
pecking
things
order.
are where they are.
It's the line. It's the line to the guillotine. It feels like here lately. Robinson, Vrabel, Carthon, Callahan. Who's left? Chad. I mean, Burke Nihill's there too, but he helped her build a stadium. I think he's got I feel pretty confident in saying that the business people, specifically Burke Nihill and others, are happy, or not happy, but are okay with the heat being off them for the time being and more people looking at Chad Brinker because, again, Game of Thrones. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate at any point. You are welcome to do just that. We will get into Vandy. Let's talk a little college football. We have not paid near enough attention to the big game that's going to take place on West End this weekend. Vandy's chances against LSU. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National Lakefront Resort Golf and Marina Community is releasing a brand new phase of Lake Lots, one day only, this Saturday, October 18th. You can get a cottage package with a boat slip from $379,900, home sites with 40 miles of views, and a covered boat slip from $99,900. Move-in ready homes and custom builds, lot sizes up to 7 acres, private golf cart access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, a brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, waterfront concerts, pickleball, pools, on-site coffee shop, and so much more. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurant just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available, so celebrate the lake life and make memories. This limited property release this Saturday, October 18th. Visit TennesseeNational.com or call 865-408-9992 to secure your private tour. Memories begin here at Tennessee National. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. So we've talked a lot about one football game, but there's an infinitely more important football game being played on West End on Saturday. Vanderbilt, coming off a bye, is hosting the LSU Tigers, who are coming off a win. Vanderbilt is favored in the game, a thing that I never thought I would see in my adult lifetime. Number 10 LSU against number 17 Vanderbilt at this point in time. It's an early kick. It's an 11 a.m. local kick. I don't know what the tailgate. Has anybody ever been to a Vanderbilt tailgate? Do they tailgate?
I caught an invite to one earlier this year for the Georgia State game, but I was not able to. I was genuinely curious. I would like to go. I would like to see what it's like when things are buzzing, because how many times this year alone is Vanderbilt going to have a game that if you applied it to any Vanderbilt season in the last 20 years, we'd be saying, oh, this is the biggest game in modern Vanderbilt history. We said it about the Bama game. This LSU game feels similar. Top 20 matchup on West End. Vanderbilt favored against a ranked opponent for the first time since 1978.
Do we believe him that he received the invitation to tailgate at Vanderbilt and instead of expressing joy and interest and legitimate intrigue, looked down at the end of his orange-colored glasses and said, ha, a tailgate, a Vanderbilt tailgate.
I'm curious.
I couldn't possibly.
It's a friend that we both have, our buddy Max. Max Hers, Vandy grad. Yeah, but invited me to come out to his tailgate.
You didn't go.
Why were you not able to go?
Because if I recall, it was my first off day in like 3 weeks, and I just wanted to stay home.
So not that curious.
So you chose rest over enjoying a college football environment.
I did. It was
one
his
that you
birthday,
looked
too.
down on.
It was his birthday, too,
Yeah,
he
it
says.
was.
So not only are we discovering that Lucas is not actually interested in a Vanderbilt tailgate, but that he doesn't actually like Max.
Or
Sorry,
actually
Max.
like college football. Why would he turn that down? Remember when we were going to the Vols game and
Nor is he Brazilian.
he said, no, I don't want to go. I'd rather stay home and watch college football rather than go to the game and watch his team.
But we did go, and it was an amazing
Yeah,
time.
because we had to literally pull teeth, and only because the two of you tripped and fell into excellent
We
seats.
did. We finally fell into some
Oh, it
tickets.
was so
Did we
good.
finally convince Lucas to go back to his alma mater for the Georgia game that was arguably the best college football game that any of us have seen this year?
That was the most fun I've had for 3.5 quarters in a long time.
Boy, you fell asleep?
I was asleep for probably half a
I
quarter.
was going to say, you said, why? What happened? They lost.
Yeah, that was sad too. That is counted into the math.
Who was the president of the United States the last time Vanderbilt and LSU were ranked
Taft.
at the same time? Not Taft. Still, it's a T. It is a T president.
Is it Van Buren?
Doesn't start with a T.
A T president.
T, like sip tea. George Washington. They threw it in the harbor. What do you mean?
The last
The
name
T president?
starts with a T.
Oh, the last name. Oh,
we didn't have a president during the
Do we have a
President
Boston
Tabor.
Tea.
Is it
Tea
bad
Party.
that I don't know? Like, I again, brain rot.
Come
I don't
on, it's
retain
not
anything.
hard.
Do we have a President Thompson? Is there a president with the last name
No, we
Thompson?
don't have a President Thompson.
Wait, Taft. It's a T. Was it Truman?
The USA. Yeah, Truman. It was
Hey!
Truman. 1947.
There are so many old people yelling at their radios
Truman!
at this point in time. Truman.
History.
Somebody said in the comments, Trump.
I guess. Yeah, Truman to Trump. That's the
Theoretically.
connection. So, yes, it's been a while since they were both ranked in the top 25 at the
Curtis
same
on
time.
YouTube says, geez, y'all can't be this slow. No, we can.
No, we
We
can.
very much can.
Watch how slow I can get, buddy.
Vanderbilt coming off a bye week. LSU coming off a home win over South Carolina. I will say, if we're going to do the transitive property thing, Vanderbilt went to South Carolina and smacked them around. Lenora Sellers missed a huge chunk of that game,
It
granted.
didn't matter.
LSU, I agree. I think that game was going in one direction, no matter who was playing quarterback for the Gamecocks. LSU held off South Carolina. 20-10 was the final, but it didn't feel like it was that close towards the end. They were head and shoulders the better team, and they ran the ball as well as they have all season. Can they do that against a stout Vanderbilt front? Can Vanderbilt eliminate some of the mistakes that they made in Tuscaloosa that really cost them that game? Because one thing Vanderbilt does well is force turnovers defensively. Garrett Nussmeier has run into some interception issues over the last few games. I think this is going to be a really good game. And if Vanderbilt can win, think about what's in front of them.
That would be sick.
If they can beat LSU at home, they will have one loss on their resume. Looking down the road with some tough games, granted, Missouri, at Texas, obviously at Tennessee to close out the regular season. But if you win this game, that college football playoff goal just becomes a little clearer. Like the focus clears up just a little more and a little more. So a huge, huge game for both teams. Not necessarily an elimination game as far as the playoff is concerned, but obviously you lose this game, whether you're Vandy or LSU, each have one loss. It puts you in a place where you have no more margin for error. And the same applies to Tennessee, Alabama this weekend.
So are we going tailgating?
I'm down. Well, I can't drink, but I'll go tailgate.
I've got a Nashville SC decision day against Miami Saturday.
Looks like it's you and me, buddy. And you're not going to drink? That means you're free to call me my Ubers. I love that.
Or to drive you around.
Or to, driving Miss Daisy?
No.
Me in the back. Turn the air up in the back and play some ABBA, please. Roll the window down so I can smoke my cigarette in your Two Rivers Ford provided car.
You know what would happen to you if you smoked a cigarette in my car?
You would probably try to assault me.
I would eject you. I would open the door for you, and I would let your drunk, googly-eyed ass roll out of the car on West End.
It's not fun. It's not nice for you to make fun of me because when I get inebriated, my eyes go chameleon mode, where I'm just like looking this way, looking.
It's insane. I've never seen a human being with the ability to straight up move one eye in a separate direction of the other, unless it's Robert and me and drunk cigs at Red Door.
And you call me lazy. It's just the eyes.
Which Red Door?
A good one.
There are Vandy fans providing us with tailgate locales that we can attend.
Ooh.
Listen, I'm down to pop a gummy and go hang out at a tailgate before I got to go do my Fox show. I'm good.
Somebody DM Buck. Yes, the Welch's gummies or the Scooby-Doo gummies. Incredible.
Oh, the blue Scooby-Doo gummy.
Ooh. Can we Uber Eats those?
Well, you can. It's just called Weed Maps.
It's not what
That's on your side. Like not talking about
I'm still very upset with you for stealing those peach rings out from under me.
I don't know what you're talking about. So, weekend tailgate, hit Buck up. I will be there with bells on.
Duck says, Buck, you don't drink? No, I do, but I have to be on air later on Saturday night, 5 to 7 with Fox Sports Radio with Jason Fitz. So we'll look forward to that. I'm going to finish that up at 7, and then I'm going to go hang out with some buddies at a bar downtown and watch the Tennessee game. You have people having a watch party?
I'll be at Geodis Park, and I'll be leaving Geodis Park close to halftime of the third Saturday in October. Yes, I'll be headed to a watch party full of Tennessee fans with my Alabama grad fiance.
Oh, I bet Tennessee watches are cool. Like, is it Rolexes or are they more affordable?
Because it's a watch party. That one went over your head, did it?
It's tough because I made that joke in the green room before the show today.
That's the only reason I recognized it. So, Vandy, we're rooting for you. Lucas isn't. Lucas is preying on your downfall. And also the downfall of Max Hers, and also he's not Brazilian.
Stop trying to convince yourself.
What about you is real? Anything?
His hair.
I thought I was the only one
Unlike
that was
you.
Chemically.
Pull that wig, that mop off pull it right now and let me see where the plugs go.
Listen, when I fly to Turkey and get the widow's peak, like when I have a solid hairline, you're going to know.
They have to shave your head down and then you'll have to wash all your scabs off your noggin. And who do you think's going to be doing that? It's me. You better be nice to me.
No. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to join the conversation. You will hear from Titans players in the locker room. You will hear specifically from quarterback Cam Ward reacting to the firing of his head coach. Cam was preaching consistency and continuity all throughout the course of the year, and then they pulled the rug out from under him. We will hear from the quarterback next. ED and things like ED, performance issues specifically, can happen to a lot of guys as your body starts to change, as you get up there in age, and that's why you need the Tennessee Men's Clinic to help you through that next phase of life, to get you back to peak performance because it's a completely natural and normal thing. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. But the good news is, since 2014, the Tennessee Men's Clinic has been providing all manner of different treatments for guys to find the solution that makes the most sense for them. These aren't cookie-cutter treatments that they offer. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work or come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments, and sometimes it's a combination of those treatments that finally unlock the results that you've been missing. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose right there in the office. So call today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
.11:01, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans host the Patriots at Nissan Stadium on Sunday. Mike McCoy leading the Titans as the interim head coach after Brian Callahan was let go on Monday. First injury report of the week came out yesterday. Arden Key did not practice, as well as Tyler Lockett, who had a rest day. James Lynch, who didn't practice with a shoulder. Calvin Ridley, Jeffrey Simmons on rest. L'Jarius Sneed and Kevin Zeitler on rest also did not practice. T'Vondre Sweat Sweat did. The defensive lineman who had his window open to return to practice off injured reserve yesterday. Sweat was limited as he tries to come off the ankle injury. Another injury report will come out later today. Later tonight, postseason baseball, Brewers at Dodgers, NLCS Game 3. The Dodgers lead the series 2-0, 5:08 the first pitch. And then at 7:33 p.m. tonight, the Mariners with a 2-1 series lead in the ALCS host the Blue Jays for Game 4. Thursday night football is in the AFC North. Steelers at Bengals. Kickoff at 7:15. You can hear the Westwood One call right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Time for a change. At least that was the way that the Titans organization handled their head coach circumstance when Brian Callahan was fired the Monday after a 20-10 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. But was the locker room feeling the same vibe, that time for a change vibe? There was a handful of players in the locker room yesterday that spoke, some who obviously spent more time with Brian Callahan than others. He obviously wasn't here for a very long period of time. But when it comes to the players who are most important, not to denigrate anybody in this particular situation, the most important player, most important person involved with the Tennessee Titans organization, you can argue that it's the person that owns it because of the impact that she has, but the most important person for the success of the organization is Cam Ward. He's the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. Everything that they do needs to be in support of him. So just quickly, around the room, does firing Brian Callahan in season help Cam Ward? You have argued against.
Yeah, I've said I don't know how it's beneficial, but I don't think that's an answerable question right now. Like, that could be wrong if Mike McCoy applies some changes to the offense that he's talked about this week, and they come out and they just look like a different unit. If they look more efficient, if the operation is smoother, even if they're not, in no scenario do the Titans suddenly become a top 10 offense, especially Calvin Ridley. I don't know what his status is going to be for Sunday. Did not practice yesterday. They're going to be limited, but I don't think that's an answerable question right now until we see a sample size.
Yeah, I think that's the crappy answer, but the right answer. Like, there is good and there is bad. I think firing him, you see no divisible benefits this year. But I do think it gives him examples of how to work through things in his NFL career. In the long term, this probably does help him. It gives him experience. It shows him that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, yada, yada, yada. But in the short term, no, it probably doesn't help him this year.
And it's something we've seen each of the last 4 number 1 overall picks at quarterback go through in their rookie year before the end of the season.
I can't remember how many of the last 10. We did look that up during training camp when he was specifically asked this question, because it goes back to Jameis Winston. I mean, we've just looked at the last 10 drafts with number 1 overall picks at quarterback and how many of those coaches were fired after that initial season. Jameis was the first one, obviously going back 10 years.
Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, quarterbacks of that ilk.
Mm-hmm. And I will say all of those quarterbacks, the last four, which, Bryce Young and then Caleb Williams, that had their head coach fired during their rookie season, all 4 took a substantial leap in year 2 under the head coach that came in and replaced the initial head coach.
Okay. So let me then pose it to you this way, because I agree that Sunday will at least help inform us to some extent as to what changes will actually be implemented on offense that may support Cam Ward more than the current offensive situation was. I think that's a fair and reasonable and nuanced opinion. But I think something that we can have a discussion about right now without having Sunday's results or the rest of these 11 games that have yet to be played out, we went counterclockwise. We'll go clockwise now. Robert, should Cam Ward have been – well, he's on the phone.
I'm here. Okay. I can stop talking to this guy. Bye. Okay. I just hung up on him. He's probably mad. Sorry, buddy. You're going to hear that in 20 seconds.
I hung up on somebody yesterday, too, just out of spite. should Cam Ward have been consulted as the number 1 overall pick on the firing of his coach, who he said he wanted to have with him as long as humanly possible?
I hate people answering a question with a question, but would have it mattered? If Amy would have said, okay, if you were Amy and you ask Cam and he says, no, don't fire him, does that change your opinion?
Probably not.
So I'd say no. It doesn't matter that he was asked.
I do think that he needs to be involved in these conversations. He's different than Jeffrey Simmons or Will Levis or Calvin Ridley. He's the face of the franchise. He's the most important thing to do with the Tennessee Titans organization right now. Not the new stadium, not Amy Adams Strunk, not Chad Brinker.
Which is why you make a move to put him in the best position to succeed. But like suddenly he's part of the front office. He has to be consulted on these things.
His opinion should be heard here. I believe that is correct. I think he is mature enough to give them feedback on, hey, Cam, do you feel like you are being put in position to succeed here? I think he can tell them in an honest moment. I don't think he's too shy to say, yeah, I don't necessarily think I'm getting the most out of the offense, or I don't think we're putting I'd like to see more RPO, I'd like to see more tempo. Like, I think he can give feedback that can inform the decision, even if you end up making the decision, whatever.
We should talk to Nate about this. I'd love to hear somebody that's actually been in those rooms and buildings as a player.
But Nate is not a number 1 overall pick.
I understand, but then what kind of position are you putting your rookie who is 6 games into his NFL career there to potentially throw his head coach under the bus that he has publicly supported and all of these things? Like, I don't know.
It's a private conversation, though. It doesn't get out in the media. I mean, it could if somebody leaks it. But if you trust the people around you, it doesn't have to. Those conversations can be absolutely internal. Let's play Cam Ward. Cam Ward was asked for the first time. He spoke for the first time since Brian Callahan was fired, and this was his reaction to the question.
How does this change for you now that the change has been made?
I think from a day-to-day process, it really doesn't change anything, not only from myself to the other players on the team. We still have our routines, the install, the game plan that we go through. Nothing really changed. I think the biggest thing is just you feel for him just because, like, what he's done for me to get to this point, just through the draft prep through the off-season training camp work, how he's helped me get to this point. And so I feel for him, but, I mean, just from a process standpoint, nothing changes for us.
What's your relationship been like with Mike up to this point, and maybe how you envision things going moving forward with him as the coach?
Well, it's been good. He's one of the first people to greet me once I came in on my visit here during my 30 visits. And he's had, history with good quarterbacks. Got a chance to work with Phillip Rivers over there. And then just the attitude that he brings to just the team, the building, and he wants us to play winning football. He's going to get that out of us. And so, we just got to buy in, come in together, with coach and make plays for each other.
So that's Cam Ward. So let me pose it to you this way, because I understand your perspective. Like, if you ask him and you put him in a position to throw the coach under the bus, whatever. But if he says, it would make my life harder because there's a lot of things that a rookie quarterback has to deal with in the NFL in his first year. It would make my life harder if you've made this coaching change right now and make whatever decision you want at the end of the year. Now, I don't know. I have no idea what kind of feedback Cam Ward would even offer in that situation, or if he would, again, defer to say, not my decision to make. You guys do what you think is in the best interest of the football team, and I'll go along if that's the direction that you think you want to go. But I do think that you put undue stress on him where it's already a stressful situation, at least in the immediate. Now, maybe that's not long term. What do you got, Robert?
No. I was just thinking that this could potentially do more harm than good, though, because but what if you ask him his opinion and he tells you it would make my life harder, and they still make the decision anyway, and then you come back to him and he's like, why'd you even ask my opinion? You know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
Involving him in something that he has no decision-making power over anyway, like, may send the wrong message. It's like, yeah, you said that, but it didn't outweigh our issues with his judgment.
Should he be given a heads up?
We don't know that he wasn't.
He wasn't asked about it specifically.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just saying, in your opinion, like, does the quarterback deserve a heads up? Hey, we're going to make a coaching change here. Like, being told, hey, we're going to do this.
He deserves to know before the public knows, I guess.
Sure.
But, like, again, how much are you putting on your rookie quarterback who already has a lot on him in his rookie year right now? And then before week 7, we're going to put that on top of the pile, asking him his opinion of his head coach, who he has publicly
it's the most important
been a
person
ride or die for.
Most important person.
I just feel like, at what point are we just putting more and more and more make things easier for Cam Ward. I think the goal this year is to make things easier for Ward, to put him in the best position, not to put more weight on him.
Would you say that this decision makes things easier on Cam Ward? We don't know that.
Nothing about this situation this year is easy on Cam Ward, which is why I'm not sure.
I'm just saying, I don't think that they're factoring into that. I think Amy got pissed and made a decision and then told her people, and then they had to, take 7 hours to put an interim in place, do a contract, schedule a press conference, and send the Jets scrambling. That's consideration to ease what is going to make Cam Ward's life easier was not given.
I don't know. I don't know what sort of proof. I remember the Trevor Lawrence meeting on the boat with Shad Khan about Urban Meyer. I guess I haven't heard of any other examples of a rookie giving that sort of. That was a different situation too. Urban had all the off-field stuff, and it was just a giant disaster. But dude's just getting his legs under him. He's learning lessons every week. Was it Jonathan Jones or Albert Breer who reported that Warren Moon called Cam Ward after that presser, the We Asked presser?
Oh.
That Warren Moon called him hey, listen.
I think Jones.
I think it was Jonathan Jones of CBS. In that report, Warren Moon called him and said, listen, this isn't how you represent the franchise. Jeffrey Simmons talking to Cam Ward about it. He's learning lessons at every stage here. So we're going to put that on top of it as well. Hey, Cam, all right. We know that you're 6 games in and you're just trying to get this figured out and things are bad, but do you want us to fire your coach? I don't know. That seems like a lot.
No, I think it's fair. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get in there. I'm just saying that I don't think they took into consideration, does this make the most sense for Cam Ward? I think she just did it. Morgan is in Nashville.
Hey, buddy, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to put another spin on the firing of Coach Callahan. With the offensive line being as bad as it was, and not making any progress, did the front office want to make an offensive line coach and change, and Brian Callahan balked on it? Is that a possibility?
No, there's been no reporting, no information to that effect. They made a decision on the head coach, not the dad. Appreciate the call, though. So that's that, and the assistant to the head coach, Tom Jones. That was reported yesterday.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
No.
You didn't like that?
No. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. See, he does it much better than you do it.
We'll see. Hold on. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
No, not terrible.
It's not unusual to build fun with anyone. And when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die.
All right, you had the vocal variation going for a minute, and then it escaped you.
Why can't this crazy love be mine?
It was good, buddy.
I tried.
We are going to reward you with a bucket of Hattie B wings. Is that what we're doing? Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Ooh, exciting. What sides did we get?
We got pimento mac and cheese, the best, my personal favorite, and baked beans.
And there is not a fork in this building.
Oh. Yeah, no, but Hattie B's takes care of us.
Oh, that's right. They have the. Oh, I love that.
The silverware?
Did you
request the silverware?
I have no problem eating baked beans with my hands.
They just know.
I don't think that's a thing. You better make sure that you ordered silverware because I'm not going to eat that mac and cheese if Robert's paw is in it.
More for us.
Use my strong hand. My germs. I need to watch Scary Movie again.
Oh, my God. We are so slap happy today. Anyway, let's get serious. I suppose we should. And let's hear from Greg Cosell of NFL Films. The newest episode of The Install was taped this morning. And it was a shorter episode than usual because, I mean, we can all agree, right? The Vegas game no longer matters. We could be talking, I mean, we may not be talking about an entirely different offense, and obviously the players don't change in Tennessee, but it's now irrelevant what happened in the Vegas game. So there was no game for us to recap, really, and we wanted to talk more about, Cosell gave some good feedback on the kind of coach he thinks they need to hire. Greg doesn't usually do that, like provide input on an organization, but this organization is clearly wayward and needs guidance, whether they're going to listen to smarter people's guidance like Cosell or anybody else that might offer them some advice here remains to be seen. And then we also talked about Drake May because Drake May is obviously, I mean, I think he's objectively a top 10 quarterback, depending on what metrics you're looking at. He's super efficient right now.
Statistically, in 2025 so far, yes.
Yes. And it's an early season, and he can hit a slump. And if Drake May has his career worst game out there at Nissan Stadium on Sunday, then good for the Titans. But in the meantime, he's playing high-level football.
He's currently the 5th leading passer in the NFL.
Well, I mean, think about it. There's no Lamar right now. There's no Burrow right now. Who are the top 5 leading passers in the NFL?
Ooh, let's guess them.
Okay, go ahead. Who's your first guess? Number 1.
Oh, I was going to pick number 5.
Okay, I'm going to...
Drake May.
Okay, that's one point for Robert.
Is Baker leading the league in passing yards right now?
Nope.
Josh Allen.
Nope.
Jared Goff.
Nope.
Sam Darnold.
Keep going. Nope. He's number 3.
Oh, ding. Point for me.
Baker's 4.
Ding. Point for him. Dang it. I got 2.
Who else is out there?
Who is good? Bryce Young.
Nope.
Dak Prescott.
He's 2.
Dak's gotta be up there.
He can't beat me now,
Who's
baby.
1?
Who is 1?
Rodgers?
Nope. He is probably a Hall of Famer, though.
Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. That
Why
shouldn't
does
have
it
been that
make
hard.
sense?
Because he's excellent.
Goff leads the league in touchdown passes.
Thought you were going to use that as an opportunity to dunk on me.
No, they looked terrible against the Ravens.
His receivers look terrible.
Devontae Adams in the red zone. What are we doing?
They're
here,
just
bud?
dropping balls left and right.
Daniel Jones leads the league in QBR. Yeah, but Drake May 2 interceptions.
Okay. And 3 touchdowns in his last game against the New Orleans Saints, who are not world beaters right now. But did you guys watch that game?
No, Titans wrong.
One of the most ridiculous, I didn't see it until yesterday, one of the most ridiculously officiated games I think we've seen all season long. But anyway, are you ready to hear from Cosell?
Why'd you say that like we're children? Are you guys ready?
Are you an adult?
And we're going to hear from Mr. Greg Cosell.
Welcome into the Install with Greg Cosell of NFL Films. Greg, busy week around here in Titanland. They move on from head coach Brian Callahan, and Mike McCoy is now the interim. Cam Ward spoke about it yesterday for the first time, and I just kind of want to open up the floor to you, given that we're not going to recap the Raiders game, obviously. Just kind of wanted to open up the floor to you to give your thoughts about the situation and what perhaps the organization should be looking for moving forward.
Well, first of all, as you know, I'd gotten to know Brian pretty well and that coaching staff pretty well. And, obviously in all these situations, when you discuss it analytically, you have to separate personal feelings. But I was just sorry to see it happen. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's not the point at all. The organization made a decision, but, you just hate to see that happen anytime, and now they're going to move on. Fortunately, they had Mike McCoy, who's been a head coach in the league and has been in the NFL for quite some time, on staff. So they have someone who's done that before. So that's always a positive if you feel you have to make that kind of move. But one of the things I've always thought about, and as you probably know, and people that have maybe listened to me for years know, I worked with Ron Jaworski for years and years, and he's one of my very good friends. And obviously, he played for Dick Vermeil, and they became very, very close. And Dick Vermeil, for years, used to come in when Ron Jaworski, when I worked with Jaws for years. And Coach Vermeil would come in 2-3 times a year, sit with us, and just the words of wisdom just are phenomenal. And besides sitting there talking X's and O's, just the leadership element, because Dick Vermeil was well known for that as well. And I remember something that he said, and I always think about it whenever a coach is fired and you have a high draft pick quarterback, whether he's drafted 1, 2, or 3, a high draft pick quarterback, someone who's technically supposed to become a star and the face of your organization. And the thing that he said, when you draft a quarterback in that position, everything about the organization, from the janitor to the receptionist to the people in the marketing department, must be about making that guy a star. He says, if you don't have that organizational focus about making that guy a star, it doesn't work, and you all get fired anyway, again, 2-3 years down the road. And that's the first thing I thought of. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say they weren't trying to do that. I was there for 3 days. That's not long enough to know what the whole operation is about. So this is no criticism of anybody in the building. But my point being, as they go forward, I think that has to be foundationally what the approach is. Because if Cam Ward does not become, when I say a star, does he have to be at the level of Patrick Mahomes? There's only going to be, a couple of those guys. But he has to become a star-type quarterback in the National Football League. That's the bottom line. And everything about the organization must be focused on that happening. Because if that doesn't happen, Buck, we'll be having the same conversation. Hopefully we're still together. We'll be having the same conversation in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, we're the only ones around here who haven't been fired.
Right, and it might be about a different quarterback at that point. If that's so, that's, to me, that's the direction. And look, Mike Borgonzi was with the Chiefs for 16 years. He knows what the focus has to be. He knows Andy Reid's focus. Okay. Obviously, Dave Ziegler's been in the league a long time. Chad Brinker's been in the league a long time. They have Reggie McKenzie there. They have guys who have a lot of experience in the NFL. I would like to believe they understand, no matter how much lip service they might give in other ways, that part of that is just the business. You have to say, we're trying to build a team, all that's well and good. Obviously, you have to build a team too. But the building of the team is fine. But if the quarterback is not reaching that level, then you're just a team. You're one of many teams.
And the quarterback is playing poorly right now, on top of all of the other things that's wrong with the Titans as a roster, and not as you said, it's not our place necessarily to criticize the schematic approach necessarily, but there is reason to believe, Greg, that there were things that Cam Ward has excelled at that they weren't implementing as much at. And we have, as a media corps, asked Brian Callahan that question many times. He has responded in kind, and then we don't necessarily see those results on Sunday.
And again, this is just a quick aside, okay? But, and like I said, I'm not there in the process of game planning and putting it all together. But when you look at their roster and what they have at the receiver position, to me, you can't go through a game with Calvin Ridley having one target. That can't happen. I mean, it's a simple point. And I know you know the way coaches try to rationalize all that. Obviously, they're not rationalizing it now because this is bigger news than what happened on Sunday. But I mean, sometimes your coaches say, well, the game just didn't work out. You know how coaches talk about this stuff, but that can't happen. That'd be, again, Calvin Ridley is the Titans' John Jefferson. Now, I'm not saying they're the same player, but for the Titans, Justin Jefferson. He's Justin Jefferson as far as the Titans are concerned. Could you imagine if the Vikings went through a game and Justin Jefferson had one target? That would never, ever happen.
Yeah.
So things like that just can't happen.
Just for context for the audience on Sunday, Ridley did have a hamstring injury and then was ruled out in the second half, which did contribute to the lack of targets there. But to your point, like even then, Greg, it's been sporadic with the way that they've gone about it.
Yeah. So, that's ultimately, I think that everything has to be about making Cam Ward a star. That's what it has to be right now. Look, they drafted him number 1. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
that's the way it works.
We have talked about this many, many times, and just to echo your point about, working with Brian and covering Brian and our interactions with Brian, him lending his time to the live show. It's something that we're sorry to see, but we both understand. We've been around the business long enough that this is just how it goes. Sometimes
he gets it. Every coach gets it. You're not happy about it, obviously, and I'm sure he's probably upset in many ways, upset at himself because it didn't work out the way he had hoped it would work out and he thought it would work out. Maybe he's upset at others because he didn't feel like he was given a fair enough chance. Who knows? I'm not going to speak for Brian Callahan, but the point is they made the decision and now they got to go forward. Now, one other point about my feeling about this, which, hey, could be totally irrelevant, but, we're talking and this is what we do. I think you have to bring someone in who clearly has NFL experience, meaningful NFL experience in working with and producing quality quarterback play. To me, this is not the time to bring in some 33-year-old who you think might be a good coach in 5 years. I think you have to bring someone in who's done it and has worked with quarterbacks and walks in with a resume. And again, that doesn't mean it has to be the head coach, but you need someone who's going to be working with Cam Ward on a day-to-day basis who has that kind of resume.
Yeah, and Mike McCarthy is out there. He's got a relationship with Chad Brinker. We understand his resume at this point in time. He's not the only name, of course, but he is going to be a popular name talked about around here as we work our way through coaching carousel.
I don't worry about that right now because we have a long way to go on that. We got a season to play before they're going to essentially decide who the head coach is going to be. I'll be very curious, though, to see, and I may not be able to see it on film because a lot of the things that happen now are more tweaks than anything else. You can't change a philosophy going into week 7. So maybe you can tweak a couple of things. Maybe you take one part of the playbook and you do that a little more, and you take another part of the playbook and you say, hey, that doesn't work great for Cam, and you don't do that part of it. But it's not like you're going to have a total, philosophical makeover. That's not possible to do in the middle of a season.
No, of course not. And just again, we have 11 more weeks to see what they're able to accomplish. And the season is not, maybe it's not a playoff team, obviously, but at this point in time, there is still the opportunity to grow, and we'll see how they go about that under Mike McCoy. Greg, I know your time is shorter today, so I do want to make sure that we talk about the upcoming game because insult to injury, Mike Vrabel's coming to town to kick their ass.
Right.
So you have,
and they got a second year quarterback who's playing pretty good.
Well, that's where I'd like to go because people are making it conversationally about Mike Vrabel, but it's really about Drake May and the efficiency that he's playing with right now. What are you seeing from the combination of him and Josh McDaniels?
And by the way, that in a sense makes our point. Because Mike Vrabel, and I know a lot of people highly respect Mike Vrabel. I got to know him very little. I wouldn't say I know Mike Vrabel at all. I think most people believe he's a very good head coach in this league. And I think in Tennessee, they probably felt that way for pretty much almost all of his tenure there. But what did he do? He brought in Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels had been doing this a long, long time and at a pretty high level. So that he brought in a guy that's worked with arguably the greatest quarterback of all time and knows how to put together a passing game and work with a quarterback. And look how comfortable. I've watched Drake probably every game going back to last year. Look how comfortable Drake May looks. And there's some litmus test things you look at, Buck, when you look at a young quarterback. You want to see how he performs on third down. Because third down, I mean, let's face it, it's the money down. If you can't convert on third down, as we've seen from the Titans, who I think are last in the NFL right now in third down conversion rate, you can't play. You just can't play. You can't move the ball. May's been phenomenal versus blitz, okay, which is another really good thing because my guess is he's not the one dictating all the protection. So now you have to separate the quarterback from the O-line and let the O-line handle a lot of that. So a young quarterback, in this case, May, is not overloaded mentally, And then the other thing, which I think May has been really good at, two things. Number one, they throw a good amount on first down. And I always think that's the best down to throw. And May's been phenomenal on first down. But one trait, which I think May has really shown at a high level, is pocket movement, which is different than getting out of the pocket. And a lot of young quarterbacks need to learn that. Now we're so used to a lot of college quarterbacks because they're better athletes than they've ever been. As you know, we see these college quarterbacks, they're great athletes now. And what they do is they leave the pocket. They just run out of the pocket. At the moment they either see an opposing jersey color or they feel pressure. What May has shown at a really high level this year is the ability to sort of in a calculated way navigate the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, not dropping them. You never want to look at the rush, but keeping his eyes downfield and then making throws. That's a big time trait, which he has exhibited on numerous occasions this year. So his development has really been good. But the other thing that a lot of people may not know is in college, his coach was Clyde Christensen, his quarterback coach. And Clyde Christensen coached in the NFL for 30 years. And he coached Andrew Luck. He coached Peyton Manning. I'm missing another big-time quarterback that he coached. It's escaping me right now. But, I mean, he knows how to deal with quarterbacks and what good quarterback play is all about and how you get the most out of a quarterback, how you go through that process, because it's a process. Drake May didn't walk into the NFL as, okay, he's Drake May, he's great. Cam Ward didn't come into the NFL as, okay, he's Cam Ward, he had a great college career, he's great. Now everything's a process. So how do you manage that process the best way you possibly can? That's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. That is a portion of the install with Greg Cosell this morning. So you can find that wherever you get your podcast, Robert. It is already on YouTube, yes?
It is processing as we speak.
Okay, very good. So you can get the podcast version now. You can get the YouTube version this afternoon. Drake May, right now, 1,522 passing yards. As Lucas mentioned, he is fifth in total passing yards. He is tied for ninth in passing touchdowns. With 10, he has a QBR of 72.3 in this first 6 weeks of year two for Drake May. He's completing 73.2% of his passes.
Pretty good.
How do you stop him?
Well, they have had some trouble running the football, so that feels like step one, right? Force the Patriots into as many third and longs as possible.
Do you think that the analysis was received by Titans fans? Did you hear what he said about what the Patriots are doing on first down?
Please refresh my memory.
They throw the ball way more than they run. Now, that was something that with Todd Downing as the offensive coordinator, really with whomever was the offensive coordinator here, they were accused of doing too much, but what was the logic? Well, they had Derrick Henry. So if Derrick Henry is your best asset, then you run Derrick Henry on early downs. You commit to Derrick Henry as a part of your game plan. It sheds a little light on, they're willing to adapt. Doesn't mean he couldn't learn from the situation here, but they're throwing the ball far more often on first downs because Drake May is their best means of moving the football right now.
They split carries pretty evenly, too, between Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, who was a really good player in college. He's a rookie. Ramondre Stevenson, obviously a veteran at this point. 51 carries for Stevenson, 41 carries for Henderson. But yeah, they're letting, and Drake May, by the way, can move. Like, he's not a dual threat quarterback per se, but he can escape the pocket. He can throw on the run. He can scramble for first downs. He has had quite the year two leap under Josh McDaniels. Is that a guy that, the curious case of Josh McDaniels, like what a weird arc he's had in terms of being paired with the greatest of all time and being instrumental in Tom Brady's success. And then the lack thereof at every other stop, including with Mac Jones in New England, when he looked good his rookie year and then things just got weird from there. Or maybe the story would have been different on Mac Jones if he had gotten more time with Josh McDaniels.
It's a good question, right? Because a lot of people just kind of shrugged off Josh McDaniel with Brady because, especially after Brady left, because, oh, look how much better Tom Brady made everybody. But it doesn't mean that Josh McDaniels doesn't have experience that can help Drake May. It also doesn't mean that Josh McDaniels can't learn from previous experiences, failed experiences, and improve Drake May as a result. But it's the exact kind of combination you want. You want leader of men type guy running your team. You want somebody with expertise focusing on the development of your own quarterback. And how you outsource that or delegate that is, as Dianna Russini pointed out in the first hour, to make it less about, hey, Titans versus Mike Vrabel, but to look across the sideline and say, how are they improving around their young quarterback with Mike Vrabel as their head coach is worth paying attention to here. Will they take that? Will they use that as a learning opportunity? I have no idea. Speaking of Mike Vrabel, players in the locker room, Jeffrey Simmons had an awesome response about going up against his former coach. We will play that for you coming up next.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
I love Tom Jones. Not that Tom Jones. Well, this Tom Jones, not the fired assistant to the head coach, Tom Jones, who was fired yesterday or at some point this week.
Many women took a ride on the bearskin rug that was his chest.
Whoa, 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 she's a lady. Banger.
Whoa, we just started a little duet there?
Did we?
Buck and Bert? On the weekends?
When are we doing
at Wild
karaoke?
Beaver Saloon?
I am so down to go to Wild Beaver.
Don't play with me.
I love Wild Beaver.
That is my place. Those are my people.
Please, that was my place long before it was your place.
You fit in like a gopher in a garden.
I didn't
dude.
used to be this, okay?
Yeah,
I used to be broke.
Yeah, I bet.
And nobody believes that.
Yeah.
And down to sing karaoke and ride the mechanical bull. Y'all never went to Wannabes?
There was once a time where I had to wash my own clothes.
I had to use my mother's credit card instead of my own. That was awful.
Can you imagine?
This is the same dude who was like, when I was in college, we had bottle service, but in between that and this, I was.
I was in my defense. That was somebody else's parents' credit card, not my parents' credit card. I would not. I fear Karen Rising far too much to charge up bottle service at Kilroy's on her card.
The mechanical bull at Wild Beaver, weak.
Yeah, it is weak.
As opposed to the one, where's the other one?
I don't know.
No.
There's another one at Underground.
Last time we were there, Megan wrote it. It's like $5, and she got off of it and demanded her money back. She went up to the stand and said, I saw her. We were watching her from across the bar.
Really?
Reach her hand out, demanding her $5
Megan's
back.
awesome.
She was not challenged.
The guy has an agenda. Like, if you are a man, he will throw you off. Like, he has no problem hurting men. But if you're a woman, he will give you a nice lackadaisical ride where it's not really like you're on a bull. You're more like on a donkey.
Shame.
Donkeys are vicious. Vicious creatures.
We talked about, I don't know if this was on air or
It
not.
was not on the air.
I thought it was on the air.
No,
Donkeys killing coyotes.
Herb stomping coyotes.
Did we not talk about this?
I thought we did talk about it on the air.
I don't remember. We say so many things in front of microphones that people ask me about afterwards. I'm like, I don't even remember
Cheyenne's
that.
every day. How was your show? Good. I don't remember.
What did you talk about? Oh, just pooping in somebody's toilet on the lawn and driving it across town.
I just black out for 3 hours.
You know who I would love to see on a mechanical bull?
Cheyenne would kill it.
Oh, Cheyenne would, yes.
Oh, yeah, I thought that's who
I was going to say Jeffrey Simmons.
Woo! I don't know. I think it
He's
would be
bigger than the bull.
The bull would have a better chance riding Jeff, I think. like the other way around, Jeff would break that thing down.
Not Slim Jeff. He's currently Big Slim Jeff at this point in time. But Jeff Simmons was asked about the firing of Brian Callahan yesterday in the locker room. He was also asked about facing Mike Vrabel, who obviously was the coach of the Titans when Jeff Simmons was drafted here in the first round. Let's start with Callahan first.
I mean, yes, shocked at first. Didn't expect it. Sure, no one expected. This early or to happen, I guess, especially so early in the season. But, it happened, and it's the business we're in, and we all have a job, and, our job is to prepare for the Patriots and get ready for this week.
So, Jeff Simmons said he was shocked at first about the firing of Brian Callahan. I don't think anybody else, at least from the external perspective, would have been shocked. But I get his point about it being early. And as we talked about, a lot of people got taken by surprise by the timing.
When's the last time a head coach was fired this early in the regular season?
Well, that's why I was going back and forth with you yesterday at the end of the show about Urban Meyer, because I'd forgotten that Callahan had a 3-14 season before.
But even Urban made it.
Urban made it further.
Late into the season.
That's what I thought I was arguing, but I was confused.
When did Saleh?
Saleh was around the same time, about 6 or 7 weeks in. It was earlier in the season.
He was fired on October 8th, 2024. So
early.
Almost exactly. Earlier by a few days.
Yeah, but not by much.
Wow. Less than a week.
So you have the Jeff Simmons clip on Brian Callahan, and understandably so. A lot of people in the organization were taken by surprise when he was fired, or at least the timing of the firing. And Jeff Simmons was also asked about Mike Vrabel, who apparently Vrabel and Jeff Simmons continue to have a relationship. After the fact, they stay in touch. Mike Vrabel talked about this yesterday. Jeff Simmons speaking about it in the locker room, too.
I don't really care about none of that. You know, my job is, I know his mindset coming into his game. I know probably what he's telling his team right now, but at the end of the day, you know, we got to make it a fight. We know that his guys are going to fight. They're going to fight for him. May try to help him, try to, you know, do a little extra to maybe get a win for him. But at the end of the day, it's our job to go in there with a mindset that we won't let it happen. You know, I know our relationship off the field, but you know, I could give two, I mean, it's not curse, but I could care less about the relationship when it comes down to Sunday. You know, my job is to go out there and play football and help the Tennessee Titans get a win.
That's why you can't trade him. That's a badass answer. That's exactly the energy that you need every person that played for Mike Vrabel during his time as the Tennessee Titans coach to have. Great guy in our relationship off the field. Bleep him.
Yeah, don't
on
care.
Sunday. Don't care. That's exactly why he needs to be here moving forward, because there's not enough guys that have that energy and not, you know, that can follow through on it the way that Jeffrey Simmons can. I think he's going to go out there and try and have his best game of the season. And that's exactly what you need him to have to be able to handle the situation that seems like at least people are treating it like it is going to be an overwhelming defeat. I don't think there is that much of a gap. There is a better quarterback on the opposing sideline. There is a better coach on the opposing sideline. There is not that big a gap between the rest of this roster and what the Patriots have.
We'll see if the interim coach bump is a real thing with the Titans. We mentioned Robert Saleh. I guess it was with the Jets last year, right?
Well, somebody brought up Eberflus.
He made it to Thanksgiving because his meltdown as a head coach came with the time management thing on that Thanksgiving game against the Lions. He got fired after that. But we'll see if Jeff has T'Vondre Sweat next to him. Returned to practice yesterday.
Limited.
Opened his window to return off injured reserve with that ankle injury.
McCoy is going to say less about injuries than Callahan did.
On like the Friday scrum?
Oh, I don't know about Friday. I mean, I suppose they can still rule people out on Friday without giving us additional information on injuries. But like, I felt like Callahan was a bit more forthcoming about injuries. Mike McCoy kind of set the precedent yesterday at the press conference after practice. Hey, you know, every guy's different. We're going to treat these things day to day. That's just going to be the line moving forward. So we will. I do not expect to learn much, at least in public press conference settings, from Mike McCoy.
Hot Chicken will be here in T-minus 10 minutes.
Yeah, we should have saved the install.
That's what I was just saying to Lucas.
Play it again.
People,
we can
we?
No, we can't.
That'd be so
Can
lazy.
we?
I don't care. I don't care at all.
We've had a great show today. Let's not
We
mess
have
it
had
up.
an
just
excellent
'cause,
show.
You know
just
what?
'cause we got some
But it's
chicken.
only going to get worse.
You know what our delivery driver's name is?
What?
Andrea. Do you think it's
the same.
Could it be
the Taco Wonder?
You think you got a few extra
From
tacos, or the tacos
Andrea's
that you forgot
Taqueria?
to put in your...
You could face her.
I'm very upset with her. I am very upset with her. I called yesterday and then I realized
he made a customer service call.
and I was like, I'm going to get nowhere with this. But if you order a buy one, get one free for 3 tacos and my order comes with just 3 tacos, I'm going to be upset.
He said, I wanted 6 tacos for $9, not 3.
Come on. Well, 3 of them were for Lucas, and then Lucas has to go, I'll just eat the 1 taco. And then I feel bad because I was supposed to get my buddy lunch. And I'm the bad guy. You will get my pastries again twice next week. Thank you for the tacos.
I mean, you had been ordering their food 4 days a week.
I will exclusively order it on Monday and Fridays between the hours of 12 and 1 because of Brett Kern. Onions and cilantro.
It is so funny to me how disgusted Kern is by the two of you.
Every time he comes in here, it's like you're going into
He
like
has
your
3
gross-
children, and he is disgusted by the way the two of you eat.
It times out to where he's always getting here right as we're getting food.
And we're just starving, so we look like animals. Like
It's not
just
even the way that you eat, it is the smell. It is the smell.
Try hanging out here around 1:30 to 2 and
The aftermath.
that pastini with the beans you brought had me going.
Yeah, you're right. We can do so much better radio than we've already done.
Yeah, you're
when
right.
we
Play
just
the
default
install
into,
again.
yeah, when we just default to what did you have for lunch last week?
Basically the 3 Stooges just
How
making
different
sound
will
effects.
the Titans offense look? Find out next.
12:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. As the Titans turn their attention to the New England Patriots at Nissan Stadium on Sunday, T'Vondre Sweat returned to practice yesterday. His window to return off IR was open, and he was limited with that ankle injury as the Titans look to get him back, pairing him with Jeffrey Simmons, hosting New England in Week 7. Mike McCoy, the interim head coach. Postseason baseball tonight, the NLCS Game 3. Dodgers lead the series 2-0. They host the Brewers 5:08 p.m. the first pitch. And then at 7:33 on FS1, the Blue Jays at the Mariners, who lead the series 2-1 in the ALCS. Thursday Night Football is in the AFC North, 7:15 kickoff. Steelers at Bengals. You can catch Westwood One coverage right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5. The Zone.
So change has arrived at the Titans' doorstep. A change in head coach, an interim installed. What changes will the offense actually have come Sunday against the New England Patriots and, frankly, moving forward for the rest of the season? What changes do you specifically want to see? 615-737-1045 is the number as we start the final hour. It's unfortunate that we start the final hour because Lucas just said as the microphones turned on, what?
Hattie B's is here.
The chicken is here. Chicken hat. Would you say 40% of this show is about our eating habits?
Not 40, maybe 39.
Okay. So we will work our way through that at some point. But we will ask Nate Washington, Titans legend, that same question. What changes would he like to see from the Titans offense, given that enough people who are smarter as far as their football acumen than Lucas and I, maybe not Robert, but Lucas and I at the very least, have pointed out that Brian Callahan had said that he was willing to adapt scheme to player, but as Kurt Benkert, the former Green Bay Packers quarterback, was pointing out in film analysis, it felt like they were still trying to square peg, round hole Cam Ward into an offense that wasn't helping Cam Ward succeed. Cosell has also said as much in less critical terms. I think Greg kind of stops himself from outright saying they're doing this wrong. But he has said that in not so many words every time we've done the podcast, and certainly we've talked about it offline as well. So what does that look like under Mike McCoy? Well, Mike McCoy was asked, well, let's start with Mike Borgonzi. This was at the Monday press conference, the late evening press conference, where they were talking about the firing of Brian Callahan and the promotion as an interim of Mike McCoy.
Yeah, I think there'll be some changes that Mike puts into place, working with Cam that we discussed today. Whether that's changes at practice, changes we do within the scheme, things to make him feel a bit more comfortable, all those things. Any opportunity we have to try to change things to help him in the offense, Mike's going to be open to that.
So, not a lot there, but when that final sentence, right? And I don't want to read too much into it. Mike's going to be open to that. Am I jumping to a conclusion to say that maybe Brian Callahan was less open to suggestions?
Yeah, I'd be curious as to what that conversation sounded like between Mike Borgonzi and Mike McCoy. Like, hey, this is what we're trying to see here.
Well, I walked into the locker room in Vegas after they lost, and Mike Borgonzi was having a very serious one-on-one conversation with Bo Hardigree at the time. Now, I don't know that, I don't think they knew that Mike Borgonzi, I don't think Mike Borgonzi or Bo Hardigree knew that Brian Callahan was going to be fired at that point. But I didn't, obviously I didn't eavesdrop on the nature of the conversation, nor would they have continued to talk about whatever they were talking about if I walked up to him and just say, what are you boys talking about today? After they just lost 20-10 to a stinky Raiders team. But I do think that Borgonzi, who comes by way of Kansas City, who has seen Andy Reid's offense, who is a tape junkie at this point in time, and throughout the course of his career, at least is renowned for that throughout the course of his career as an executive, sees what a player with Patrick Mahomes comparisons can do in a different style of offense. So I think that it's not too big of a jump to say, well, maybe some suggestions are being made about adjustments to the offense, and Mike McCoy will be able to understand that and implement those things in ways that Brian Callahan was still trying to make things work in his specific way, even though he wasn't calling the plays anymore.
I mean, Mike McCoy was not brought here to be the head coach, to be the offensive play caller, to apply his scheme to the Titans, right?
No, he was somebody who knew Brian Callahan from their time together in Denver, where Mike McCoy was the offensive coordinator and Brian Callahan was a quarterback's coach and offensive assistant. And Callahan viewed McCoy as at least one of his football mentors.
Yeah, so I suppose we could consider Mike McCoy a candidate to be the head coach of the Titans.
I think you should.
If there's a turnaround, obviously there is precedent with Amy Adams Strunk as controlling owner of giving interim head coaches the full-time gig. So with that in mind, that he didn't come in here with that preconceived notion of trying to make his scheme fit this quarterback. He came in here to support Brian Callahan. How do they kind of balance what's already in place schematically with also just cutting it loose? And you fired your head coach 6 games into the season. There's nothing to lose here and trying to put Cam Ward in the best position to succeed.
He was also, well, let's hear from Mike McCoy specifically on tempo at practice and why that's applicable to the way that they perform on Sundays.
Well, I think it's important to practice the way you want to play. And, you know, we had a great tempo in practice today and getting in and out of the huddle, and because you're gonna play the way you practice. And, you know, my job is to make sure that we push these guys so that they play the way we want them to play. And so they did a great job today.
He also said, or Cam said, and when we talked to players in the locker room afterwards, Lucas, they said that they expanded individual period. So they're spending more time on individual work as opposed to whatever else they might have been doing during those times, whether it's special teams, whether it's one-on-one, 11-on-11, this, that, and the other. It's also worth noting that Mike McCoy, Brian Callahan was very willing to answer questions about certain types of things that were or were not being used within the offense. Mike McCoy, when asked about tailoring things more specifically to what Cam Ward did as a collegiate player to try and get him more comfortable as they integrate him into higher-level NFL concepts, basically said, yeah, I'm not giving you all the game plan because opposing teams watch this. So this is going to be a night and day difference as far as how head coaches handle this. I wonder if there's not something,
Oh, it's so beautiful.
That's chicken. That's 2 bags. How much food did you get? That is so much chicken.
It's a bucket of chicken and 2 quarts of sides.
My God. Is there just what? Wow. Let me get that. Let me get that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. We immediately are distracted by the bucket of Hattie B's chicken that has just arrived in the studio. It makes us very happy.
Wait, are there 2 buckets?
Did you order? That's why it was $100, you dope.
Did I get 2 buckets? Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
A bucket for each of us.
I got 2, but I didn't mean to, but okay. Great.
I get a bucket and you 2 get a bucket.
Wow, the sides are in there, right?
Yeah,
nice.
All right, get out of here.
So
much chicken. The 3 of us couldn't eat a bucket last time, and now we have 2. You're going to have to take this home.
Okay.
Anyway, somebody points out on YouTube that we better save money, save some for Blaine, because Blaine comes in here every time and
of course Blaine
is very agitated about how much we talk about chicken without saving some chicken for Blaine.
Blaine loves those wings.
Yes.
Every time we talk about it, he's like, when are y'all going to get some more of those wings?
Bustin' Diamond says, Hattie B's does buckets. Haven't you been listening?
They don't pay attention. Their job is to listen, and they don't do that.
All we talk about is Hattie B's buckets.
I'm literally trying to pry the lid off of this. The show's essentially over now. We're just going to eat chicken while we talk to Nate Washington.
Speaking of the Titans' potential schematic changes, things that maybe the Patriots will not have on tape that they could utilize on Sunday, how much of an advantage can that be? Terrell Williams, by the way, what's the latest on him?
Prostate cancer.
Right. But
he's not with the team.
Right. Okay.
Zach Kerr is calling defensive plays for the Patriots right now.
Okay, but there's not been in terms of his health.
He's going through treatment right now. I don't know that the condition has worsened. I had sent him a message after the diagnosis was made public. Seems to be doing okay. I think he's just thanking everybody for well wishes and kind of working his way through it right now. But what I was getting to, Lucas, before the chicken so delightfully interrupted us, is the idea that could there be something to the idea that Brian Callahan is telegraphing too much of what they want to do? Ooh, chicken in front of the camera. That's very close to the camera. Could there be something to the idea that Brian Callahan, for as willing as he was to explain how they went about things, and I'm not saying they were giving us everything at the podium, but that opponents were able to learn enough. Oh, I've just lost him for the show.
That's unfortunate. Do it on camera, you coward.
You're not on camera eating that? You should at least be on camera.
Show them the chicken. Turn your microphone off so he can hear me.
Okay.
Show them the chicken, you goofball.
There is the chicken with Lucas Panzica-sized bites taken out of it. All right. Either way, I suppose we can get back into actual football conversation with Nate Washington, who joins us next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by none other than a bucket, 2 buckets even, of Hattie B's hot chicken. Nate Washington joins us now, as is the custom, for his weekly Thursday segment. Nate, I'm always happy to see you. Today is no different, but Lucas and Robert are participating in a silent protest because they would rather sit here and eat their chicken than participate in the radio show at this point in time. It's wildly disrespectful to you, but just know that I put my chicken down in order to conduct the interview.
I can do both.
I don't blame you guys.
They're disgusting. It's like wild animals in here, just chewing and gnawing and slashing and gnashing. It's terrible.
Unlike you, I can walk and chew chicken at the same time. And I will.
Famously, I have seen you be able to just break every bone in your body or twist every bone in your body just trying to participate in intramural sports, much less eat chicken and
I've
walk
never broken a bone in my life. Nate, what was your injury history before you got into the NFL? When you were at Tiffin, you dealt with injuries like any other player in your career, but were you on any sort of streak when you got into the league, or did you deal with stuff at Tiffin?
I actually didn't experience any real significant injuries until the 11th year of my career. I had a point of my college career where I got injured in the very last game of our season, but obviously being in the very last game, I had a hip pointer, but I didn't miss any time because we were going in the off season. But that would be the only time I got injured. Other than that, I didn't experience any real injuries like that until 11th year of my career. So I played it pretty safe.
Because he's a man. He's not like a coward, a wimp like you, Lucas Panzica.
Those sprained ankles don't mess around, man. You sprain your ankle. I want to see you react to a sprained ankle.
Oh, I wouldn't come into work.
You would be out for months.
He'd come in here with a neck brace.
Lucas, I got some bad news for you, man. Actually, the only year I went over my career, 1,000 of my career, I had a high ankle sprain 9 weeks out of the 16, 17.
Ooh,
so I played every one of those games, too.
Well, yes, you are in a different category than us, Nate. Robert's right. Buck would come in here with a neck brace.
I would wear a neck brace if I twisted my ankle. You are correct. I would also take the week off. But that is why we do what we do, and Nate Washington was a professional athlete. All right, so the Titans fire their coach. What do you think?
I think it was needed. I thought it might have hit a little earlier than I expected, but I definitely expected it to come at some point this year. Unfortunately, this happens often. When I see a Brian Callahan type of potential coach, I see a guy that's once a coordinator coming from one side of the ball, understanding the game out of his perspective that he's been placed in. And there's a lot of times that guys, position coaches, coordinators are put in head coaching jobs, and it's a different atmosphere for them. Having to be in tune with every single phase of the game, understanding the game at a different pace than what you have been previously operating can be very difficult for guys to adjust. I believe them to be great guys, and I hate to have this type of conversation behind his name, but I think about Coach Mike Mularkey. He was one of my favorite head coaches that I had during my 11 years in the league. But unfortunately, it took him a hard time to grasp the full scale of the game, the defense, the secondary, the special teams. He had been an offensive line coach for so many years and a run game coordinator for so many years. Those things were hard for him to transition into the larger scale of becoming a head coach. And that's what's kind of reminded me of here, this Callahan situation. I think even though, he might have come in as an offensive coach with the offensive mind and things didn't work out in that phase either, I still think it may have just been too much for him, and the Titans seemed fit for it was time for him to make a change.
Just a quick correction. You mean Munchak, right? Not Mularkey?
Yes, Mike Munchak. Exactly. Excuse me.
So with that, Nate, and listen, we are not in the meeting rooms. You are not in the meeting rooms. We are not in the locker room. I mean, I'm in the locker room, but not really, right? Like I'm there 45 minutes a day, 3 days a week. So it is difficult to speak on adjustments and how teams go about game planning when you don't actually get to see them install the game plan on a week-by-week basis. But as you watched the Titans offense through these 6 games, do you feel like they were making necessary adjustments to your trained eye versus our untrained eye to help that rookie quarterback succeed?
Well, no, in all honesty, and I don't think these things are pretty much schematically designed things that were hindering them. Well, you can get into, looking at this play scheme of what they've come out of the Raiders and how they, I can address that. But I think more so than anything, they're the fundamental things, the tempo, understanding the benefit of the three-step game and the quick game with Cam, taking advantage of your tight ends in the middle of the field. I think those type of things, and back to what I've been preaching, since the beginning of the season, is the run game being solidified. As you watching the run game, I just don't see understanding from the full scale of the offensive line of concept and scheme and assignment. There are many plays where, as offensive line coaches would state, you want to get a hat on a hat, and it's not happening. You have guys being misdirected and allowing run-throughs where you can't have those things happen. And I think those things are not just whether we're going to be a pass or a run or what type of offense we're going to be. I think those things are just the foundation of an offense. The tempo and understanding assignment is necessary moving forward with this offense to progress. And I think it hasn't been happening over the previous 5-6 weeks.
At NWash85 is where you can follow him on Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, I saw you were teasing a special announcement on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I got something very, very special, man. Something I've been working on for a very long time. I'm excited about it for me and my family. So I'll be announcing it tomorrow and hopefully talking about it with you guys next week.
Hell yeah. Well, we await the announcement and we're excited for you, whatever that announcement might be. We'll look forward to keeping an eye out on social media. The fans can as well. Make sure you make eye contact with Nate as you ask him this question, Lucas, instead of glancing longingly over at the chicken, because he won't stop, Nate. I can't keep his attention for 5 minutes.
Well, speaking of eye contact, Nate, where are your eyes going to be with this offense the first time Cam Ward takes the field then? Is it going to be tempo? Is that the rhythm at which they're snapping the football, at which the play call is coming in? Like, what is 1A and 1B in terms of what you're watching for offensively Sunday with Mike McCoy now at the helm?
That is definitely the number one thing I'll be looking for, because that's where everything starts. The way you snap out of the huddle, the way your pre-snap operation coincides with your sense of urgency isn't very important to how the play is going to work out, and that just has been very lackadaisical, in my opinion, in its approach with this offense. They mosey out of the huddle. They get to the line. Cam goes through his cadence. He looks over it. They motion. They do whatever they need to do to get set. But it's just, in my opinion, it's just very lackadaisical. You have to have some type of sense of urgency about putting a threat on this on the defense that you're facing and letting them know that you're prepared and ready to play the game. And that has everything to do with your approach to the line of scrimmage.
You, correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, you have not been in a position where a head coach was fired during the season, right? And an interim carried it the rest of the way? Certainly not in Pittsburgh.
My tenure with the Titans was kind of up and down, man. So I can't remember. I don't think anybody was released in the middle of the season.
Right.
But I can, only attest to, where the locker room stands in this situation, if that's where you're headed with the question.
Well, I guess where I'm headed is the idea of the Titans being able to show something offensively Sunday with a new head coach, Mike McCoy, offensive-minded guy, offensive coordinator at multiple stops. How much the Titans would try to lean into that and do something the Patriots would not be prepared for, something that has not been on film now that Brian Callahan, is out of the building. And I don't know if you had been in a situation like that, I would have been curious if there had been any sort of emphasis on trying to change things up to catch an opponent off guard with something you haven't shown yet.
Well, I think speaking from experience, there's always a ton of plays in the playbook that haven't been ran that we practice throughout the week. Oftentimes we may come out of a game and look at certain plays like, why didn't we take advantage of this and why didn't we take advantage of that? So I'm pretty sure that they have an arsenal of things that they haven't run to this point that they can take advantage of. But I think more than anything, I think, just sticking to the fundamentals of the game will help them show something that they haven't shown. The up-tempo significance to this offense, getting in the 3-step, understanding how the run game will help them. Unfortunately, in my personal opinion, I think Tajay should be starting. I think he gives you more explosion. I think he gives you more balance. And I think, where Tony stands in this run game would be a significant backup. But I just think you get more explosion and more opportunities from Tajay as your starter. But, those things can be adjusted in that manner. I think when you look at an opportunity of a full-scale new offense coming in, no, we definitely want to see that happen. But there would be certain wrinkles that, this offense hasn't run that may feel a little more comfortable with than the previous regime and their operation and their approach about what they once went at things.
How much changed when Calvin Ridley left the lineup, questionable at first with a hamstring injury and then ultimately ruled out, Nate? For what it's worth, they're getting ready to get back on the practice field, but Calvin did not practice again yesterday.
Definitely a significant change. I think, his understanding of the deeper route concepts gives Cam a little bit more comfortability and reassurance in where he's going to be. After he left the game, I looked at the game plan and what they were consistent with running. And a lot of the route concepts were 15, 20 yards downfield. You're looking at a young quarterback with offensive line protection issues, trust issues, and you're asking this young quarterback to make 5 to 7 step drop reads. And that's difficult. No matter whether you're down, 17-3 at the time, I think, as I stated last week, the most successful quarterbacks, when you look back at Peyton Manning and the Tom Brady's of the game, were your dink and dunk type of guys. They can march down the field. They knew how to take 5 and 6 yard plays and turn them into 12 to 15 yard drives, which would give your team also time of possession and give you an opportunity to kick a field goal or absolutely put points on the board with the touchdown. So, you just have to look at these play schemes and the position that Cam is being put in, this offensive line is being put in. As much as we can blame the offensive line, it's pretty hard to get comfortable as an offensive lineman when, the base of your package is 5-7 step drops. It's difficult for those guys. So I would love to see them get a little more comfortable in a 3-step drop package, a little more up-tempo with this run game. And I think everything will pan out a little bit better. I think those are the necessary steps to addressing the Calvin Ridley being missing in this offense possibly this week.
Yeah, we will await a final determination on Calvin Ridley, but it would be reasonable to expect that he might miss this game. We'll see if he's not able to practice today when we get the Thursday injury report. Nate Washington here with us on 104.5 The Zone, talking about the Titans and the changes that they are getting ready to undergo or are currently working on at this point in time. So, with that, Nate, you bring up the offensive line, and listen, Max Crosby is going to get much better tackles than J.C. Latham. He's going to make much better tackles look the way that J.C. Latham looked on Sunday. And I know I didn't specifically ask you or prep you on the front end to talk about offensive line play, but I do want to talk to you about being a young player in the social media era, because he gets on Twitter the other day, and he's kind of tweeting through it a little bit on the day that Brian Callahan is fired, talking about, everybody wants to hit the panic button, this, that, and the other. You have always had, I think, the right approach, the right demeanor, the right mindset to handling social media, especially as an active player. What advice would you give to younger guys who are obviously growing up with their phones basically attached to their face when you're on a team going through some difficulty during a season?
Stay off of it. Stay off of it, man. I understand that my time was a lot different. When I was playing, actually, all the social media was being created. 2009, 2010, that was the prime of my career. So I was able to come in out of time and it completely ignore it. I didn't get on any social media until 2017, 2 years after I was retired. But as you stated, for these young guys that are marketing themselves and making money off of their social media and understanding that avenue, I think, it's important that, as much comedy and much fun you might find online or scrolling your timeline, it's very detrimental to your mental. And in the words of Beast Mode, he says you got to take care of your chickens and take care of your mental, man. And that's important. Some things you just can't engage in. And I think it's so important for some of these young guys that they have no choice and they run straight to their social media, their Twitter, and they start talking. And whether you want to engage with fans or not, it's a public platform and people are going to respond in their manner that they want to respond. One of the main things I've learned about being on social media is people are going to troll whenever opportunity they have an opportunity to troll, and you have to understand those things. And for a young guy like J.C. Latham, I think the most important thing for him right now should be work. I turn on the film and watching the technique is one thing, but watching the lack of effort is another. And that's the thing that's discouraging being an ex-player, because I've, played with a ton of guys, some being the most talented, some just being guys that you like, how did you get here? But in the same sense, you can take a guy and maybe ask him, how did he get here? Because you look at the way he addresses the game, the way he approaches the game, it means something to him. And I just seen a couple plays that he was very lackadaisical. There was a chip from Tajay on the right side one time, and Tajay gave him the chip on Max, and Max was still able to beat him around the edge because he was unable to get back in his set, just dropping back very slow. And those type of things you just can't have. You get beat on technique, you get hand swipes, you may get a spin on you. Those things that happen occasionally, and you'll learn from them. But the effort in which you approach this game is important. And if I was his coach, if I was in his camp, if I was his brother, someone that was his homeboy that was living with him, whatever the situation may be, I would tell him, now is not the time, bro. You're not going to say nothing right on social media, so just stay off of there. Don't tweet nothing. If you got a little chick you following, DM her, conversate with her that way, but stay out of the way, man, and get to work and everything will work out for you.
It goes down in the DMs. It's interesting that you bring up effort, though, with him specifically, Nate, and I don't know if you had seen this from Mike Silver. He's a longtime NFL reporter. He's currently working for The Athletic. He was at Sports Illustrated when Sports Illustrated was still, at the peak of its powers. He had written an article about Cam specifically, but also about the situation that the Titans are in. And he referenced, after all the Titans players were talking what a poor, in the locker room with us afterwards, after the Vegas game, talking about what a poor week of practice they had leading up, coming off of their first win. There's a part of that article talking about Jeffrey Simmons having to challenge J.C. Latham at practice because he was not giving sufficient enough effort for J.C. Latham. So that's not something we've ever had a conversation with about, at least from a media standpoint with J.C., but it is interesting that your eye is also picking up on that when Jeffrey Simmons is apparently having to address it with him in practice.
And I'm very glad you brought that up for me, Buck, because I've been meaning to mention this to you since Michael Pittman made statement on it. And I concur. When you see this team come out from the kickoff, understanding football and being there before, you can see energy. You can feel it. It's something that is undeniable. And it's seen not only from the body language, but the movement from the players and how they're snapping in from the sideline and the energy and how they're connecting with each other. It's something that I can see. And I have just not seen it. The energy from this team, the energy from this offense specifically, they mosey in the huddle, they mosey out the huddle. And it feels like a bunch of guys that are just there to say, okay, I'm here to do my job today. And there's only maybe one or two guys that have the sense of urgency in that huddle to leave out of it and look like they want to be great on that play to me. And I understand where this whole notion that there has been no energy and looking lethargic when these games start. This has been a problem. And until they come out, these things control tempo. These things control how you approach the game. All of these things matter. And maybe it was Coach Callahan. Maybe it was his energy and his ability to, just be so cool, calm, and collected. And as you can as a coach, you have to understand your players need energy. They have to come out with a sense of urgency and an understanding of the position that they're in, which the Titans are in with only one win this season, that they have to improve and progress the next week. And that starts with how they approach the game with their energy.
Nate Washington here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
Nate, Tom Pelissero of NFL Network just reported that the Patriots are signing former Titans tight end Thomas Adekoya to their practice squad. He was on the active roster just this past Sunday in Vegas. Have you been a part of this, a team signing a player to the practice squad that was literally on the opponent's active roster a week prior? And how much of an advantage can that be?
Oh, it's definitely an advantage. While the player may not be able to tell the other team what exactly is going to be ran, they can give format sets. They can give play schemes to certain formations. They can give down and distance of understanding of information of the philosophy of how the opposing offensive coordinator and those type of things. So it's definitely a benefit there. But at the end of the day, the game still has to be played, and those type of things are considered let me say this, hopefully are considered, by offensive coordinators understanding that previous players were picked up by an opposing opponent for the next week. I think this has also just kind of been not only a Vrabel thing, but an ongoing thing with the Patriots. This was one of Bill Belichick's old moves. You get a guy that was released, he may not even be a guy that he needs, but he's going to find a way to get that guy in the building and get some information from him. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans understand the position that they're in with this losing this guy and him being picked up by the Patriots. But as I said, there's only so much information that he's going to be able to give to the Patriots that's going to be beneficial to them. And I don't really see it. I pause to say that because, we still finding out what's going to happen with Mike McCoy. So, but I don't see it really being an issue with this week coming up.
They got plenty of issues coming up. We will see how they manage the situation. Nate Washington at NWash85. Keep an eye out on his social media channels. He's got a big announcement coming up. We're very excited for our guy. We are always happy to see Nate Washington on Thursdays. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Now you can eat your chicken. Go ahead.
Quit acting like your mouth isn't watering over it.
I am actually starving. So we will do that. Last call for phone calls. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in.
I'm literally picking Hattie B's hot chicken out of my teeth as I do this. Hey, it's Lucas. I would never lead you astray when it comes to food. So believe me when I say Hattie B's is the best hot chicken in the world. And if you're watching on Zone TV, you can see this bucket of hot chicken. Even Buck is eating wings in front of people. That is how irresistible Hattie B's hot chicken is. For us, it was the bucket of wings, jumbo wings. Medium is what we went with a quart of baked beans and a quart of pimento cheese. Ordered it on the Hattie B's app, where I'm starting to build up rewards. You can too. You get a free dessert literally by just downloading the app. We don't order Hattie B's to the station for our lunch as a show because they're a wonderful sponsor partner and we enjoy spending time with them. Those things are all true, but we order it for lunch because it's the best hot chicken in the world. It's like your grandma made it. HattieB.com. Let them fuel your tailgate or watch party this coming weekend, and you can get your Hattie B's hot chicken at Nissan Stadium when you're watching Titans and Patriots this Sunday. I'm going to go back to my Hattie B's.
We're not prepared. Lucas is still face down in baked beans. I have just come up for air from a Hattie B's. Oh, my God, you can hear it. From a Hattie B's whole wing. What did we get, mild? Medium? Medium.
I love hearing him just in between chicken and chaw and beans. Medium.
Literally like a wild animal. He's lucky that I was close to my microphone to start talking because I have also a mouthful of chicken. It is delightful. We cannot do this anymore. This completely derailed the show. It's a mess everywhere in here. Blaine Bishop is going to get chicken. I'll clean it. But at what cost? Robert, you have to talk for a minute.
What do you? I don't know. Last time this happened, where I don't know if you remember. Last time this happened, where it was like, "Hey, you talk, buddy, while we do this." I bleeped up and said a bad word and got shunned away from the show for like a year and a half. So I don't know if you want me to do the talking, but in the meantime. Did you guys actually? I will do some talking. Did you guys see the anomaly that happened in the NFL last week for the first time since 2018? It was the first time since 2018 that a wide receiver took a pass rush snap. Lou Anarumo is a mad scientist in Indianapolis. Who'd they play last week? The Colts. They beat the snot out of them.
The Kyler Murray-less Cardinals.
Okay, so maybe this was against the Raiders.
It was a closer game against the Cardinals.
I think it was against the Raiders. Ashton Doolin became the first wide receiver since 2018 to take a pass rush snap. It was not a bad snap. Kind of like while being a layman, I would say it was a type of stunt. He started on one side of the offensive line, came around to the other. Lou Anarumo is a crazy person. Can you tell me the wide receiver? There are actually two offensive players to take pass rush snaps since 2018. One of them is Rob Gronkowski, who took two. The other one, a former Cleveland Brown wide receiver who had trouble staying on the field due to suspensions. Who is this wide receiver that took a pass rush snap?
Josh Gordon is the giveaway.
You are correct. Ding, ding, ding. Ashton Doolin.
I was getting ready to say Josh Cribbs. I thought you were going more obscure.
I bet Cribby would have had a nice little pass rush snap.
Who calls him Cribby?
No, that's what Lucas calls things that are crispy. So I just wanted to appropriate. He's like,
some Cribby chicken.
He's like, oh, I love how Cribby is.
I hated the way he said that. I hated that.
Oh, cribby chicken.
No, on a serious note, this chicken today is extra cribby. All right, I'm going to go eat some more.
No, Lucas, we have the polls. We have 3 minutes.
No. Well, what we also have to do, God knows we're going to embarrass ourselves because Laura Rutledge is going to record an interview with us directly after the show. Lucas is going to have baked beans all over his face. We are going to play that interview tomorrow. We are about to embarrass ourselves in front of one of the foremost broadcast professionals in our industry right now.
Who are the other three? Eat some more chicken.
That was really good. I regretted that.
That was really good.
I regret I walked right into that.
Today's been a fun show.
I mean, unfortunately, when we are at our worst, the show tends to be at its best. So
I got to clean this console.
I mean, it's literally everywhere.
It's not. If our bosses are listening,
there is
very
not
clean.
An inch of this console surface. It's a giant studio. There is something hot chicken, baked bean, or pimento mac and cheese related on every inch of our workspace.
It looks like a church homecoming where all of the old women get together and they're like, oh, I'll bring you a little bit of this if you bring your persimmon pudding and whatnot. It looks like we had a bunch of old women cater, and that's the way we like it. There ain't nothing wrong with having a studio full of food. A foodio, if you will.
You're right. We let you talk too much today.
What do you want from me?
Play the polls and let me go home and eat my chicken.
What is one change you would like to see to the Titans offense on Sunday? Scoob, by the way, polls presented by Two Rivers Ford, this house most trusted Ford dealer. Scoob says some kind of offensive flow and open up the playbook for Cam.
Joe on YouTube says, this might be the dumbest show I have ever heard. I hope you enjoyed your lunch while ruining mine. I did. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it very much. I'll do it again.
Mike says he wants easy, short completions like we were promised, more play action, more rollouts, less slow setup runs, more RPOs.
The prince that was promised, Cam Ward.
Chris says less screens.
How about less Tyler Lockett? Are we gonna see them make any adjustment with the Tyler Lockett situation? Because he's just, I don't know if he's worth putting out on the field right now as a player.
Will you cheer or boo Mike Vrabel if you are in attendance at Nissan Stadium Sunday? 70.7% said cheer. 29% said boo.
Are you surprised it's that lopsided? Like, I get it. People like him, but that's pretty overwhelming.
I think for Titans fans who are just, have had it up to here with the situation, it is a way of protesting the current situation also.
You think Amy Adams Strunk avoids him?
I don't know.
I bet she does.
Who you got, Vandy or LSU? Oh, very split. 50.4% voted LSU.
Soft. Cowards. We need Vanderbilt to win, so Vanderbilt gets into the college football playoff and Will Bowling has to wear a Vandy jersey. We are all on board with this effort, yes?
Again, if they win on Saturday, like, that picture becomes clearer.
Hell yeah.
And every game left on their schedule is winnable. We'll see if Vandy can do the unthinkable.
Those are the polls?
Those are the polls.
All right. We're ending the show early because we're hungry and because that one guy said we ruined his lunch and it made me happy. So we will continue to talk about this tonight on primetime 6 o'clock start because of Thursday Night Football. We look forward to visiting with Laura Rutledge here in just a minute. If you missed any of the show today, check out the podcast. See you. Dealer.